I'm not kidding.
No. Just.
Okay, ready, guys? Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is the executive meeting of Manhattan Community Board One. I'm joined with our executive team. Thank you so much for being here. Online, we have Pat Moore from Quality of Life, Paul Goldstein from our Waterfront Parks, Vicki Cameron from Landmarks, and Patrick Cannell from Land Use. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining online and in the room. I think I hear a ding, so that might be Jason as well. The first item has been postponed to October, which is the American Heart Association run and discussion. That's actually a good thing because we learned from DDC this week for the street projects, a little bit more detail on their timeline and when they will be finished on Greenwich and Murray and their progression north. So that gives us more information. That's really good. We did reach out based on their conversation to have DOT special events as part of a dialogue so we can all have a nice conversation about what's going to be possible in the neighborhood. Because DDC has many projects that go over the course of the run, from not only the start line, but all the way over on the east side too. So, I mean, there's just the number of Front Street, South Street, Nassau Street, Pine, Cedar, Trinity, Battery Place, Greenwich, Murray and Worth, just kind of covers so many spots on their route that we really do want to have a dialogue with DOT and the route organizers to understand who, what, when, where, why. And we did learn also from DDC this week that they actually asked the DOT and run organizers why it couldn't be on a Friday, which I thought was a really interesting question, that they said they would be far more amenable because it would be better for their work project as well. So, all good questions. So that will be postponed until next month. Open meetings. All right, on the borough board meeting today, it was widely discussed. And I shared with everybody the open meeting law that came from the general counsel of the borough president's office. It's really important to know that I don't make the laws. I don't do anything about it. We just try and follow them. So the requirement is you must have quorum in the room of board members. Period. That's where quorum is based. Once you have quorum in the room, then the people who are online who have qualified disability or qualify under what we have already passed once as extraordinary circumstances from the emergency orders can be counted. But as they clarified this morning, if it's not a qualified disability, which we mocked up a form, I'm waiting for them to approve, it looks very similar to theirs, that we would be using for, hey, Jason, thank you, that we would use, that people would fill out and just submit, right? Then extraordinary circumstances. So what the borough president's office told me today is if 3 months in a row, 3 committee meetings in a row, you have an emergency work and can't attend, that's not really an emergency work. That's routine. So they're going to take a look really harshly and strongly at the attendance, and we have to be very diligent about how we fill it out. Because if it's a qualified disability, that's one category. If it works under the extraordinary circumstances that we have, that has to be listed. Because what they are looking to know, they don't need to know people's health issues, but they need to know you're claiming extraordinary circumstances. Is that all the time? Then maybe you don't have the time.
What is a qualified disability?
That's the one that's listed by law.
What is it?
It was in the email that I sent out under the open meeting law. That reference, let me take a look.
You have to be bedridden?
No.
And
All right, so.
the population I work with those.
Okay, let me see, I know I did send it out, so let me see what I can find. open guidelines. Okay, from Tommy. So what it says, it's individuals with a disability pursuant to open meeting law, section 103-A2C for Borough Board. So that is what they reference specifically, and that's under the New York Public Officer Law section. And it is a physical or mental impairment that prevents me from attending. For our purposes, it would be full board meetings in person and otherwise meets the definition of disability found in section 292 of the New York Executive Law.
What does that mean? So
Term-
I'm exempt because I can't, because I'm physically disabled?
I'll read
Or
it.
is it saying that I can't attend?
Hold on.
I don't understand.
Do you want to understand what disability is defined as under this? The term disability means A, physical or mental or medical impairment resulting from an anatomical, physiological, genetic, or neurological condition which prevents the exercise of a normal bodily function or is demonstrable by medically accepted clinical or laboratory diagnostic techniques, or B, a record of such an impairment, or C, a condition regarded by others as such an impairment, provided, however, that in all provisions of this article dealing with employment, the term shall be limited to disabilities which, upon the provision of reasonable accommodations, do not prevent the complainant from performing in a reasonable manner the activities involved in the job or occupation sought or held.
That's very odd because that is not the definition of disability. That's the definition of impairment. So it's really strange that they don't use a disability.
Could
I
be
mean,
just,
I normally
Yeah.
qualify and pay, I'm federally qualified as disabled. But that doesn't sound like it exactly includes me, so who does it include?
this was from the email that I sent out from the general counsel from the borough president's office.
Yeah, that's so weird that they don't even know what a disability is.
I welcome you to challenge the borough president's office.
I think they really.
Oh,
do. They might have-
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think so.
think so.
And Tammy, did I qualify for unusual circumstances?
You do.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
But that doesn't have to be extraordinary, that can be routine.
Well, no, because Pat does make some meetings, so it, she was at all the meetings in July, right? And so for Pat, extraordinary is like, for example, I don't know if you can see it in the background, she's at the hospital with her mother at the moment. Her mother is at the hospital, so that is an extraordinary circumstance, right? So it goes back and forth. The one thing that we do not want to be in the business of is, I'm not medically certifying nobody for nothing. That's not me. I got a form from the borough president's office. That's what we send out. People self-certify. That's the way that goes. We just report what we get and then leave it to the borough president to do attendance. But what we need to do as a board is understand what July and September have been like for Lucy and Onesh, which has been, quite frankly, hell. Okay? Because quorum is a requirement in the room. When we were all in person, no big deal. Everybody had to show up. When we were all remote, no big deal. Everybody had to show up. The hybrid has proved brutal. Because I'm tired from my day at work, I'm gonna tune in online. That doesn't work. And I've told people who are texting me, I'm busy, well, then be late to the meeting, but I need to have quorum in the room. Be late, leave early. If you're tired, go home.
You realize though, I can tell people how to be impaired, because impaired is much, much lower standard than disabled. And what the law is impaired, but everybody is impaired. So I can.
Mentally or physically.
But I
So-
think it should be impaired. To require somebody to be disabled as determined by what the federal government
Right.
considers disabled is a really high standard and kind of ridiculous.
Let me explain. Actually, there is no requirement for a community board to allow virtual based on impairment or disabled. You do not have to allow it. That is a community board's individual choice. We could just say, everybody got to be in the room. That's it. We could say you have to be in the room unless it's in extraordinary circumstances. We can say you have to be in the room unless it's a qualified disability. Those are kind of the three options that we have to think of. The most important and probably most frustrating thing is the 2 hours it takes for the office to not be doing their regular work, but to be chasing down attendance.
Can it be divided so that that committees can be online? And the monthly is in person for,
Nope, the open meeting law says committees and full board have to have an in-person forum.
okay, so the CD does not have control over that.
Nope, not at all.
So can I ask a question,
Sure.
Tammy? Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Say
my
it.
point is, aside from, physical, mental disability, whatever the definition is, we are volunteers. And a lot of us have jobs that are 9 and 10 hours a day. And I don't mind contributing to my community, but I just can't physically sustain all the pressure of just coming and showing up when I can contribute my professional advice via Zoom. We've learned that it's not a problem. So why eliminate all the wonderful professional contributions because we won't waive a silly old law? That's what I keep asking.
Vicky, I don't make the law. I can't change
No, I
the
know
law.
you don't. I just want you to transfer it so that I myself don't have to keep emailing. But if you tell me where, oh, please, I will. Otherwise, we'll have a bunch of what? People who have all the time in the world to attend meetings who may not be qualified because the rest of us are busy. I don't mind contributing. I just would like to do it from my home at the end of a very long day. That's all
Maybe
I'm asking.
Maybe you may want to write a letter.
Vicky, I feel that you should probably write a letter to the borough president's office because
Okay,
I guarantee you that there are many other people around this table who work long hours, who have very busy commitments and other things like that. And
and they're equally frustrated.
they're equally frustrated that you're saying this from your apartment and they've schlepped their ass into the room. So, I mean, I don't mean to be rude about that.
They schlep their ass because they're listening to outdated rules. I was there for my committee meeting where I co-chair and I wanted to comply, and I will make every effort not to haul my unhealthy ass, my healthy ass, but my unhealthy ass into a final, a monthly meeting, but all of this stuff can be done in different ways where professionals can contribute. What the hell? This seems like an obvious shit story.
I hear you, Vicky. I really wish I could change the law. I think you should write.
No. I keep
No.
saying it's not you. What I would like you to do is pass on the concerns. Otherwise, you will be left without a lot of professionals. And I told Gail Brewer a couple of weeks ago when I ran into her, I joined the board.
Vicky, I'm muting you for a second, and I'll tell you why. We can take up by resolution a secondary resolution on what we think the new law should be, or what we think should happen after the hybrid option expires, to encourage our elected officials to pass a new state or local law. So that can be done separately. We have until June 30th, 2024 to get that resolution formatted, figured out, consulted, and done. I don't feel like we need to pass that tonight. What I do feel we need to pass tonight is what we as a board, knowing the current state of rules, are gonna do. Right?
Okay, I'm just saying, architects, I can't speak for other professionals, work endless hours. If you want our contribution, you need to work.
Vicky, hang on. I've got other people who would like to speak as well. It's tonight is about what we're gonna do, and I have draft resolutions from 2 other CBs to share for what they're doing, which Lucy can screen share. I emailed them to you. All right, while we're having this discussion. I see Pat's hand up and Jason's. We're gonna go Pat first.
I mean, I was going to say the same thing, that we should find out as a board how many people feel that we should be able to be hybrid and write a reso. So you already stated, Tammy, that, after after it's up for hybrids, that we write a reso. But don't you think we should write it before?
Well, we need to figure out what we're doing to be able to manage in the office. It's kind of brutal. Like, we used to go around to other places. We don't have bandwidth to get that done. We're here or we're in the borough president's office. We have no bandwidth for any extra steps anywhere. I can't be asking the office.
What happened to us hiring or having a young person handle the hybrid part?
That we had in the summer as a way to help as we transition to hybrid. All of them have gone back to college and we don't have that anymore. We can try and hire somebody, but let's work on the big thing first and get a district manager in and work on the land use intern and work on the other things that we need to do before we worry about that. We have some chairs who are okay running their tech. I've learned. We have some who are not. It's
And maybe in every meeting, there may be a committee member who's willing to run the tech in every meeting. So like in quality of life, we may have someone. I mean, Mariama did a great job last night doing it, I think. It was you, right, Mariama, doing it? And, so maybe we can find someone, and we always have Mimi.
all right, I'm muting you, Pat, because it's not about necessarily that. It's about the setup, the breakdown, and the attendance. And taking notes and running. It's when it was in person, whoever was sitting here just talked about this. No one had to worry about anything like that. You ran your notes, you took your notes, you wrote your stuff. Everybody came and everybody left. It was significantly less complicated. We are in the best possible situation because we have the technology for sign-ins that goes immediately. We have the technology. It's just more complicated. Jason?
I think for me, I made one last commitment to this community board, whatever the last, at least, I guess, but minimally, I think, and I'm not sure with all this, because nothing seems to happen much in these hybrid meetings, good. But we just have to, we make a commitment to come to these meetings to meet quorum for the next if your term is one more year or whatever, like, just make that commitment. I come every time. So everyone, it seems to fill itself in, if they can't come, then let them not come. But they can't hijack the meeting and they can't do all this remotely and they can be a part. But we have to just make the quorum at the end of the day. So who really cares whose opinion is about where we have to be during it? Paul will come a couple times, whoever, they'll come once in a while, just to make it over the next transition period. So people stop arguing about it because it's we'll never get anywhere. Susan comes a lot. There are a lot of people I see that come. We make it happen. So we just have to maybe really put it on paper and maybe work with people's schedules and they feel we got to do it. If she wants to be on the landmarks committee, she has to come because the law is kind of saying that, and she has to come for quorum. So,
Jason, if you want professional advice, you have to.
Gotcha.
They'll need to
Mimi,
rate it.
you're next.
Don't mute me, Pat, whatever, Patty, whatever your name is. If you want advice for free, you have to work with people.
Trying to talk.
Vicky, let other people talk.
So if we're going to write something, I think that we should address why they would want us to be in person. Why would they want us to be in person?
It's the law. It's open meeting law.
and
Just because it's a law doesn't mean it's good.
Like now that,
Open meeting law has to do with public transparency. The reason why people have to be in person is A, you prove that it's them, right? That the person who says they are who they are, that they're participating, right?
and we have to make presenters.
And it's not only community boards that function this way. It's school boards upstate. It's the state legislator. It's every single open meeting.
so they're worried that we won't be ourselves.
No, it's due process. We live in a democracy. We have certain rules. We have to meet and interact. And you don't interact the same way meeting on the Zoom. No, I'm just trying to answer. It's just we berate this. I agree with Jason. It's enough. And we're wasting time. We can't get business done. And we're here to do business, all of us who are here. Betty makes it, for Christ's sakes. And pardon me, Betty, but if Betty can make it, anybody can make it, really. I'm sorry.
Maybe Betty doesn't have to make it, because other people are making it and she can give her opinion, like.
It doesn't matter.
Other people.
Here's a-
Alice, you're next.
I don't think there's anything more to say. As far as I'm concerned, I don't even understand the discussion. A law is a law. We are following it. And when it changes at the higher ups, or if we want to challenge it, that's a different resolution and a different
That's
night's
right.
discussion.
That's right.
Tonight,
Thank you.
we are simply saying we are abiding by the law. And I just want to remind everyone here around this table and up there on Zoom, that up until 3 years ago, no one even considered this as an option. And
That's
none of us
correct.
in this room are going to tell me that it's better when you're in that freaking Zoom room than it is at this table, period. So let's move on. Tammy, please, let's write the resolution.
Okay.
I move to write a resolution.
Mariama, Jeff.
I don't even know. I thought it's like you're supporting the law.
We have to all right.
That I
Mariama,
don't
Jeff.
understand.
That was pretty much what I was gonna say. I mean, I have I'm supposed to be at another event, a 9/11 event right now at the UFT. I'm not there because we need a quorum, so, and I committed to being in these meetings. So I'm here. But at the same time, I do think that not every law is good. I mean, history dictates, there's been a lot of bad laws. So there's reason to challenge this law, or to rewrite this law to say maybe we should be hybrid or just on Zoom, then I think we should do that as well. And the government needs to lead by example, because I go to a lot of government meetings that are not in person, they are on Zoom. So if you can be on Zoom and you're getting paid, and I'm a volunteer and I'm still giving you 40, 50 hours out of my week to do free stuff, I can be on Zoom too.
Thank you, Jeff, and then back to Becky. But remember, if you're online, you must have your camera on.
It's really a clarifying question / comment. The resolution is to what end?
The resolution is whether, right, there are three things. We passed a resolution during the pandemic to allow for extraordinary circumstances and qualified disability. A board chooses whether you allow those or not,
Right?
right? We have attendance requirements, right? We also need to pass a resolution. So it would be if we said, everybody comes back in person, nobody's online, right? We have to change the resolutions that we passed that said that we could be online.
Well, I mean,
Because
is it
of-
often just to keep the existing resolutions that we have? I mean, what's the impetus for changing what we currently have?
I think it's because it's hard. Is that?
I mean, because
why we're
it's not, it's a non-emergency situation which
Correct.
has been established. So I agree with Jeff, like, what is it that's?
So there are a couple things. If you,
Yeah, I can't.
Scott. Sorry. Should be, where's your plus and minus? Because it's not a dot. Alright, so I'm just gonna, you can see it. So this is, if you scroll down to the bottom, there are a couple things. One, there is in the resolution at the very bottom, this is all the background of the whereas. and how it
CB
goes.
11.
This is CB 11, I have CB 11 and CB 9, right? So they have troubles at CB 11 finding a location. We have no troubles, we have R2, right? The video conferencing, required documents, everything, we're fine with all of that, right? Present, unable to be physically present, extraordinary circumstances, including disability, illness, and, okay. That they allow still. Requiring members, where'd you go? Okay, there you go. Self-certified for disability, right? Oh, so, slow down, go back up, sorry. Stop. The other thing is, both 9 and 11 have authorized that that if there is an emergency, the chair is authorized to declare for the board and decide to go fully virtual. Which then prevents you from having to take another vote to then go back into virtual. If it comes down that there's an emergency order, it allows the chair to respond immediately to the emergency order and say, or the vice chair if the chair isn't there, and then move on. which I think is an
So that's
important.
what we're voting on tonight, to authorize you to be able to
I can draft
declare an
it.
emergency?
We don't have to vote tonight. I
No, she
can
can't
draft
declare
it.
the emergency. She's responding to
I
somebody else declaring.
Respond to the mayor's emergency
Oh,
by
okay,
being allowed to automatically go full virtual.
But
okay.
don't you have a
Okay.
power anyway? I mean, isn't that how we?
Not necessarily. We have to wait for the open meeting laws to change.
No, but I mean, we
An
can't.
emergency order.
An emergency order.
So you won't have to sit around waiting for an email this time saying, okay, go virtual.
But we would still have to wait for the, I mean,
It's
if
an
you,
emergency order.
Okay.
It's coming from,
Theirs has, in the event of, it's okay, go to 9. Sorry.
Tammy, why don't you put what it is you want us to,
So
Sort of,
I
just
wanted to
make-
share what all the other CVs are
Well,
doing.
but what-
And here, take a look at this.
what's the core of what you'd like?
I don't need to vote tonight. I can put it all together based on the conversations and we can vote next month. But the one thing, if somebody's asking me what I would do, right? Based on how difficult it was for the office for 2 months, right? In July, I had all the interns to be able to help calling for, hi, are you coming to the meeting? In September, we didn't, and the jockeying at the meetings was on brutal, right, on both the staff. I would say that we go in person.
you
Okay.
mean not hybrid at all.
Hybrid is for the public, right, the
That's
presenters.
the presenters.
I have heard from some chairs would like some presenters. I think quality of life, licensing that all be in person,
I think the
landmarks that all.
presenters.
Definitely, our preference is for presenters and all applicants, specifically applicants.
Yes,
Come in person.
correct.
Good idea.
And for agencies to find a way to have them in.
Yep.
Betty, I know you don't agree, but if we vote on it, you can decide whether or not you encourage that.
Okay, so,
So I support all of that, but I think we should keep it hybrid. For the
I have my hand up.
for the reasons that we have.
Hi, Vicky, please go, it's your
still
turn.
don't know what we're voting on.
But if we're not voting tonight.
I don't like that.
Vicky, it's your
But
turn.
that-
Doesn't
that-
have-
That has to be a reason, I mean,
Unless you don't have a quorum.
there has to be leeway and, you know, for
So,
not attending in person.
okay, so if there has to be leeway for not attending in person, when do you need to notify the office? If you're a qualified disability, I think that needs to be filed before the day of the meeting, period, end of statement. That has to be on file for what you're applying for.
Unless something happens to you that day. I just fell and broke my leg.
I fell and broke my leg, that's extraordinary, right?
Yeah.
But being, if you're at the office, that's not an extraordinary
Right.
circumstance.
Agreed.
You're late.
Agreed,
Arrive late, you're tired, leave early.
agreed.
Let's do it.
let's do it.
Let's do it.
I don't know if this is being voted on, you said not. so-
Yes, we are gonna vote on that, so we're gonna limit it down. So if you have a qualified disability, that has to be on file with the office more than 1 day in advance
Okay.
unless it's an emergency.
Sounds good to
Emergencies
me.
that day still need to be approved by the chair as they were before,
Okay,
right? But know that quorum is in the room.
Correct.
okay.
Why would a qualified disability be the same day unless you have an accident that occurred
That's an
that day?
that's what Mariana was saying. You got,
Or death, something.
And those people.
you know what, for you, honestly, you make almost every meeting. I know if it's raining, you're not gonna make it because you can't get transit here.
Right,
He
but
does.
those people with ongoing disabilities. There's no reason they shouldn't declare it right out when they are accepted onto the board.
And that's true, but according to the borough president, there is no blanket disability. If that was the case, that you cannot function to attend any board meetings, you would not qualify.
That would
You
have to be able to do.
I was gonna say, that sounds like a slippery slope for him because,
That's not my slope, that's his slope.
no, I'm saying for him, it sounds a little bit like
The boards don't have to accept anything.
discrimination based on.
Well, whatever, we don't have to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to go there.
Let's close it out.
Yell at Vicky, tells Vicky to,
I did unmute her. She
Vicky,
gave herself back, which is a miracle.
I have my question up.
we're waiting for you.
You're
Ah,
really good.
thank you. I want to tell you again, while I love contributing, I want to remind you that the architects were approached by Gail Brewer some years ago, several times, saying at the AIA meeting place on LaGuardia, I need architects. I thought the process was arduous the first time, but the second time she showed up, I thought if this is something she can do, I can do. Since then, I've made the effort, but I want you to understand that we have, and there are other professionals, but I'm only speaking for us, endless hours, enduring hours, and we want to contribute, but you need to work with us. I have a specific issue on the side, but for all the architects, for example, you want us. Here's Jerry. He's not here. He's endlessly busy for 10 hours a day trying to keep a new job. All I'm saying is that Gail Brewer, the borough president, came and asked that we help. And I'm here. And I have been here for, 5 years. But you need to pass along our message that our circumstances have to be accommodated and reviewed. That's all I've been trying to say.
But that's true of everybody.
Yes,
Well,
that's
that's
true of
all.
everybody.
You know what? If you need architects, which is what she said, architects run things. And I'm busy. I have a full-time job.
Vicky,
I have-
stop, please. I beg of you. Jason has
Okay.
also spoken as
I
a
can speak
full-time
also.
architect. Alice has already spoken as a full-time architect. We have.
Well,
Mayor
then you're going to lose some of us. If that's okay with you, no problem.
Vicky, I've also lost, yeah.
We've lost,
All right, can I,
lost a lot of architects.
I'd like to move that we move on from this particular item
Okay.
unless we're,
So then
can I do
we
that?
are working for a vote, correct?
Yes.
No.
Are we gonna go for a vote for this?
Wait, what are we doing?
Presenters are in person.
Presenters and applicants.
And applicants.
Person.
And asterisks for city people, we encourage city people.
And we encourage the city agencies to be in person, to at least have some of their reps in the room.
Absolutely.
To ask questions face to face.
I absolutely agree on the applicants being in person. Raising a question, sort of a question.
The city is also.
Maybe change city to government.
I mean, we get a lot of presentations that are very valuable in environmental.
I bring in
and
federal
question
representatives
whether-
sometimes, even from DC. They come in
I think
person.
somebody's
I
talking.
would question whether we would get as many and as detailed presentations if those people from EDC and the authority and whatnot had to be in person in order to do their presentations.
Well, I can only look to the past for the answer to that question.
I mean,
which-
of course they did. in the-
Which
in
they
the-
did, and I think it's in their interest, particularly on these big ticket items like we're seeing,
Yes.
that they would come still. So I'm
just raising that as a, I mean,
It's a
an
fair point.
applicant wants something from us, and they should be in person. A presenter, in at least some cases, is because we want them there. We want the presentation. They don't, it may also be in their interest to give us that presentation. They're not necessarily asking for something
An action.
from us.
But there are city agencies that are applicants as well.
No, applicants can definitely be in
He's not
person.
saying that.
These are like third-party people that want us to do good for us and want us
Or
to.
maybe we want
Right.
We want to know. We want information.
At discretion of X. whoever.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
You would
At
say the word
discretion of,
courage. I don't think you're saying it's
we're not
forced.
saying it's mandatory. We
Right.
We're
encourage
saying
them.
all applicants are mandatory in person.
Yes.
Okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
We have to
So like
vote.
landmarks, licensing, where there is a vote that is
Land use.
required, land use actions, they have to come in
But,
person.
it gets sort of a bit of a gray area to answer your question then, because let's, for example, in the new zoning text amendment, which is really a big one, which goes to our friend Patrick over there, that's gonna be critical when the DCP comes, and I would very much want them in the room, because I think
Correct.
there's gonna be a lot of minutia there that we're gonna kind of want to have exchanges with
Yeah.
whoever shows up, so I don't know, it's a presentation, it's not something that's an application, we don't
It is,
have
that's
to
a
have
ULURP
it.
action.
Sorry?
That's a ULURP action that
Well, if
requires
you did,
action.
yeah, well, that may be, I got
This is only.
And Alice, they're the applicants in that situation. I was thinking the same thing. That example stuck out to me too, because that was one where the city really needs to be in the room, because they had zero answers for us in their 45-minute presentation last week.
Well, I would prefer to say government because we tend not to have applicants, but I have had presenters from the federal government fly here from DC to present for quality of life. So I think that we want them to continue to come in person as well when they're able to.
Agreed, yes.
I agree.
Well, I definitely prefer that to be in person. I'm just questioning the mandatory on the presenter portion, not the applicant portion.
I understand.
Yes.
Then
We could
our
say we're
preference is,
Where
we ask,
Or maybe just give the chair or the
Where
chair of the
possible.
committee discretion to waive the in-person on a presenter or whatever.
Mhm.
But I think, yeah, you are, that definitely should be in person.
I think anything that requires an action.
as Jason said,
Action by the board needs to be in person, and that whether that's government agency, applicant, anything, if you are seeking an action
Right.
from the board in any capacity,
you must be.
a portion of your team must be in person.
Yeah.
And I think we can keep it, a portion of the team must be in person, which then gets you to where Mariama was for DDC, where they had some of the detailed engineers online, but the CCL was in the room.
Mhm.
And that allows, if it's an applicant with DOT looking for revocable consent, the applicant is in the room, right? If DOT is asking us to opine on something, they need to be in the room to answer the questions. If all of them are not in the room, if they have 4 presentations, they have one person who can answer and the rest online, that's fine, but having them up here.
Well, I agree, but actually I look at it a little differently. Some of the most technically able people to answer the questions would be the ones online. The question is, they'll just send someone that's low level to come in person, which for me is fine. I just want the information.
That's not what happens at Quality of Life. DDC sends,
But that is what happens at DOT.
But not landmarks.
but not landmarks, and quite frankly, Kate should be at the meeting.
I mean,
Oh, she was, but she's not necessarily the highest level person for answering technical questions.
Not for technical, but the buck stops at her because she's our liaison.
Well, I think we've come to.
I think we're good. Okay, great. So we've got that portion done. So that is not in question. So we've got all of them in the room. We are still, if I understand correctly, for the resolution, permitting extraordinary circumstances that were defined under the emergency order as well as qualified disability, right?
while you were talking on qualified disability, I took a look at the public meetings law, and it looks like for the qualified disability exception, you can count online for quorum purposes.
Not according to the guidance that we got.
I think we may want to go back and get clarification.
If you
on
would
that.
like to write the email on how to get that clarified,
Yeah.
I'd be fantastically happy. All
Okay.
right, that's fine. All right, good?
But it's only for the qualified disability, it's not.
That's right.
That's right, because, yeah.
And qualified disability has to come with the form
That's
that
correct.
the borough president's office gave, which gave dates and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna get all that together. And are we voting to?
Will that form be like online, somebody goes on, they can download it, fill it out, send it to the office that they? Like how are
It's
people gonna get the
exact,
form?
I drafted one that I sent out in that email,
Mhm.
about the open meeting law from the borough president. I had already mocked it and drafted it for what they did for our meetings. Because they look at borough board as an Uber full board meeting. And the committee meetings, committee meetings were treated separately, so you would have to qualify disability for both types of meetings. Because they consider them two different types.
Could I see the paperwork on qualified? Because again, if I qualify for it, which I probably would.
Yeah,
You
you
do.
You do.
Kind of moot because
You
I'm not
would.
be cured tomorrow. It's not a temporary kind of thing.
No, but you're also, it doesn't impede your ability to perform or your function or to participate in the meetings. You are able to do that in person, where your instance has come over the last couple of years.
That's
It's the
not a
ability
qualified
to get.
disability. Not with the definition they're talking about. They're not talking about, they're saying if I have an impairment, then I'm excused if I want to be.
Well, but it goes on to say, and that impairment prevents you from participating in person.
That's right.
Which now it is a disability, an impairment shouldn't even be written down.
Well,
Like I said, I'm not the lawyer. I took what the general counsel said. I
I can
shared
add
it
that to, I
directly
can
out.
add that to the clarification.
Add that to the clarification. Great. So with all of that, all right, we are ready to go
Yes.
for a vote?
Yes.
Yep, yep.
No, because it won't make a difference. It doesn't affect the.
No, no. Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
so we're gonna go by affirmation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are there any-
Jason, yes.
Let's look online to make sure we got the.
I'm sorry.
Hello, come on, I'm trying to go quick. Let's go. You sugared me up. Come on.
What am I doing?
You're
We're gonna
asking.
take the resolution.
Now ask them.
So is everybody online? If you are voting online,
Did you get a second?
oh, did I?
I said.
Who's eligible to vote? Paul, Patrick, and Pat are eligible to vote online. Vicky,
Aye.
that's not- we have Jason here. Okay, great. I got all, that's fine. Do I have any abstentions?
I
Betty
didn't,
abstains.
I never heard it, but I don't care. I'll abstain for today. I promise I'll go
That's
with
fine.
the flow
And
on the
then
next one.
any no's?
I have no idea.
Alice is upstairs.
Yep, okay, great. Motion passes.
Somebody's gonna ask about that. Who abstained?
Going
No, I'll
around
go with it.
for committee,
did all.
I think, who's last? Just, anybody have anything that's gonna light our hair on fire?
No.
I don't think so.
Fantastic, I love that.
I don't
You
think
have
so,
stuff?
We had a
Francis.
technical issue in our committee, and I think it will be solved when we're more in person.
Yeah.
With all data and.
I think that's part of the problem that we're having is we cannot control, I mean, this is the best setup that we have.
Right.
We've had, I don't know how many meetings this week, and the owls have worked and not
Right.
worked and not, there's no rhyme or
We
reason.
have a Mercedes-Benz at least here.
Correct, and I have to be honest, in the, from June through now, I've worked with Do It, with Lucy, and we've had them come and check our internet. We've reorganized how this setup works. We have reorganized how this works. I've plugged as much into the wall as I can instead of relying on Wi-Fi. As you know, anybody who showed up for a meeting in June or July who tried to get on the Wi-Fi, it crashed the WebEx.
Yes.
Because we don't have the bandwidth. So we've got this now hardwired and that's now hardwired. We've gone through all the technical abilities that we have in this building to upgrade whatever we can
No
thus
young
far.
people. We have no young people to help us.
That's exactly right, Jason.
Can I take
Find
my
the person, find the person that's, oh, you're the young tech guy,
Yes.
please help us
Yeah,
out.
I could probably fix the
Oh,
Wi-Fi.
don't sign up for it, but.
I'm gonna have you help me with the router, because I'm meeting a week with that.
You mean
And
the
my
one that's on the floor?
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause
And the
that's
goal is that we have enough Wi-Fi that everybody in the room can be on the Wi-Fi. But in order to do that, I have to split, there's one pipe that everything comes in. I need one side for the public to sign on, one side that's dedicated for the office that they don't lose their up and download speed. So that's the last thing we're working on. But even with all that, if you are not facing the owl, people don't hear it. It's not necessarily robust. When you're taking a vote, I did by affirmation around the room. I guarantee the people who are online did not hear people raise their hand. It's not a perfect system, but it is the one we have and quorum is required in the room. Now, I need everybody to understand this. Our public members go to one committee. You are assigned to one committee as a public member. When you attend as a public member, any other committee, you attend as a regular member of the public.
Correct.
According to the open meeting laws, if you are a board member and you are visiting another committee that is not related to you, you are also a member of the public in that committee, unless you choose to speak or you're present as a presenter in that committee. So if Jason was opening up a bar and presenting and licensing, he becomes presenter, but otherwise, he stays as an attendee.
That I don't understand. I'm sorry, I brought this up yesterday and I know I emailed you
Yep.
both about it. Because it's terribly inconvenient to be a member of the board and have to be, raising your hand and carrying on. Why can't you just be a
Can we
panelist?
not do that?
I mean, that's ridiculous.
We can.
I mean,
if you
excuse
wanted
me, let me
to-
finish my logic. Let me finish my.
I'm okay. I'm good.
There's
I
no
don't
question
have
in my mind that that is very similar to the setup that we're sort of trying to point our fingers towards, which is sitting around a table. I may not be sitting in the front row, but I'm sitting over here. When I raise my hand, Lucy would, call on me. So this doesn't make any sense,
But
as
keep in
not
mind,
putting everyone on a
it
panel.
was in It
Okay,
was
so it doesn't
in-
matter. I
It
would
was
like to,
in the guidance that we got.
I
We
would-
can change it and say that full board members can
yes,
be panelists.
I think it's a good
Yes,
change.
let's
I
go
think,
ahead.
yeah,
I've got two our votes.
all right,
Done.
done.
Two other small items.
Okay, yes.
You know, Community Board Two got iPads that they get all their resolutions on. I don't know how
Oh.
to figure that out. Budget, I don't know. And, food at these meetings for board members.
Food.
If there's money in the budget, you would get so much done. It's like unbelievable.
What about snacks?
Well, something you do 3 hours and you're like, you can't use the bathroom, you can't. It's crazy.
Full board meeting, I agree with you. We are gonna try and do
You know,
something.
we're-
Now, hold on, Jason. Everybody needs to understand. Does anybody have a clue who sets up full board?
We need a.
Our district manager, but now Lucy.
Who sets up full board,
The staff.
No.
What? Like now.
right? At the end of the meeting, who is the person yelling, please move the chairs back, please help?
Don't let me fire.
Lucy and Onesh.
And,
I cannot have Lucy and Onesh
no.
cleaning up paper plates and food
Okay,
scraps
all right,
left
all right.
on the floor.
All right, we got
Because
it.
board
Okay.
members-
No, I've been
I
saying
am
it before.
perfectly happy for a full board, order some light snacks and make sure that there's food out there. I have no troubles.
Where's the rule about about drinking? Is that somewhere in there? You can't have
You
any
can't
kind of
have
wine
alcohol.
ever. Where does it say that? I'm just curious that.
It's about surviving 3-hour meetings.
Where you're headed, where you're headed.
I am fine to order fruit, I am fine to order, whatever foods to have at the full board. I just need you to know, if we trial that and it's a mess, then I'm going to assign a hospitality committee. And people will be really bumming because their butts will need to be there at the end of the meeting cleaning up from all
Okay,
the
all
other.
right, all right, all right.
There is an issue on
Yeah.
licensing.
My name is up. I see no problem with the hospitality committee. What's wrong with that? If people decide they want to have food, then we can take turns cleaning up. There's no problem.
That's bad.
I don't have a hospitality committee.
Francis reminded me, we have a cannabis issue. That's really has to be discussed. I don't know, I passed that from Peace Corps
Okay.
days.
So, thank you for reminding me, my God, the sugar. Okay. The Office of Cannabis Management is coming to the full board meeting for a 20-minute overview presentation for the
Oh,
board.
no, not 20 minutes.
Yes,
And they're gonna pass out joints.
yeah.
Well, I mean.
They will be hybrid. They will be hybrid. They will present
Gummies.
current statuses. Because we do have an application, which we will need to be hearing in October. We have to send her all the forms and everything, which we're working on to get her all the forms. They are exactly the same as the licensing forms. So we're working on it, but she'll come, Onesh.
She's got.
Oh, she's gone. Pascal
Bernard.
Pascal Bernard is coming, and one of the other people. And so we asked them to cut the presentation down to like 15, 20 minutes. It's really about the current, we don't need the history.
Right.
We just need where we are today, what the process is, and looking forward. What Onesh and I did learn, when we got this particular application, the applicant had dated it, but it took 27 days to reach us, which seems a little odd in a building where we get the mail 5 days a week. So we filed an objection. And so the clock, which is supposed to start from the date that it's dated, started from the date that we received it. And then we asked, which was August 29th, then we asked for a 30-day extension. So we have until October,
Okay.
right?
But our meeting goes until 10 o'clock without this 20-minute presentation. So how is this being accommodated?
I'm cutting into the public session. So we're gonna have public session from 6 to 6:30, the public hearing on the budget, and then she starts. And I promise that I will do 2 slides for my chair report. That's it.
Okay. And I'd raise my hand
We
to
don't
say,
have district manager report.
oh, right. I'd raise my hand to say another thing that the Zoom caused is that all the meetings now go
Oh, yeah,
to at least
endless.
10 o'clock. I mean, that wasn't the case before. We used,
Yes.
only people on licensing and maybe landmark sometimes used to have to stay till 10. Now it's every single committee, every single month.
Yeah.
So
I loved.
that's another reason why we have to be able to
Do
be.
you remember full board meetings with Joel pacing in the back,
I missed that. Where did that?
Right,
right?
it's 8:30.
It's
8:30.
8:30. It's 9 o'clock, we gotta go, we gotta go. And
He's still on the board? I mean,
Yes. And he'll still pace, don't worry.
he's working on getting fixed so we can pace in the back of the room again. But I mean, that's the goal. We really do, we have guaranteed from the borough president's office, we will be out by 10. Because we only have the room till 10. The staff stays overtime. We'd like to be out by 9:30. That's a goal every full board.
Speaking of that goal, how are we doing on this agenda? Just,
We're moving on. It's at the end of this.
do we have anything
Oh,
else?
we're done?
Budget,
I asked, my committee reports goes like, does anything light your hair on fire? There's nothing that lights the hair on fire. We have, and,
And the capital,
no.
budget items we have in.
okay, so Lucy says,
I'm not putting them forward.
Lucy says we'll have food for October.
Oh my God.
Not
It'll
for-
be amazing.
Thank you.
I will do whatever to get that going anyway, you know.
And why can't we have food, Lucy?
But she's not putting,
everything on my credit card because it's been fun. I do get reimbursed.
Love it.
but it's a lot to put on your card.
Unless,
Papers.
I can get everything.
Jason, you want to, ordering catering, I'll give you a
I'm
budget.
gonna work with, Pat. That's the
Meeting,
best.
okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
All
yes,
right,
yes.
let's go. Meeting
Good night.
adjourned.
Good night. Thank you, Lucy.
Tony, let's make